Stampers, I've got a Christmas card for you this morning, and I'm going to use a little heat embossing, and we're going to keep this scene very simplistic. I love this look with white on white, and we have an embossing piece here for some texture, but I don't really care for cards that are just to have so much, embellishments on it. Anyway, this is easy to mail also, and we're going to be using the Welcoming Wood stamp set from Stampin' Up! For our trees in our background. And then we'll just pull in a deer from the Peaceful Deer stamp set. And I love combining these two sets. Who doesn't like a deer in the woods? I mean, it's perfect, right? So we're going to get going with our background. And we're going to start with a piece of white cardstock. I'm going to have all the dimensions for the card down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see all the dimensions, plus links for all the products I'm using. And this piece here is 3 by 5. And we're going to start with our trees from the Welcoming Wood stamp set. And we're going to heat emboss these. So I'm going to load this stamp up with Versamark. It's going to be hard for you to see what I'm doing until we get some color on our paper, probably, since this is all clear work here. But I'm going to stamp it at the top of the panel, and I want it to be to where all the trees tops are off of the panel. So I have them all off the panel there at the very top. You don't want any trunks that are just like cut off showing on your panel. So that was done with Versamark. And then we're going to heat our image up using clear embossing powder. I keep mine in a tub. So much easier to use this way. And just load it up here. Give it a flip on the back, and then I always look for strays because there always tends to be a few, and I just knock them off with my fingernail. Looks pretty good. I'm going to use my heat tool. I'm going to get it going. I'm going to heat these up just until they go to shiny color. You don't want to heat them so much that they sink into the paper. Okay, they're all embossed there. And now it's time for some color. I'm going to let this cool down just a second. But we're going to start with Balmy Blue ink and a blending brush. And we're going to start at the top of the panel here, and we're going to put Balmy Blue all over the top of the panel. And we're going to not go down clear to the bottom of the trees. We want to leave about 1/2 inch of the tree base with no color. This gives you a soft snow finish, and your trees will look more like they're standing in the snow instead of hanging out in the sky somewhere. So I've got that nice softly done. So now I just want a little darker color in the top left corner. So I'm going to bring in Misty Moonlight ink. I'm going to stay with my blue blending brush here. And I want this up here in the corner. I like this fairly dark. And it's alright if your trees start to look a little blue. That's not a problem. That's just atmosphere, I call it. there's our darker blue. And that is it for our background. We're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment with Balmy Blue. And this sentiment comes out of the Peaceful Deer stamp set. And it just reads Merry Christmas. So there's our sentiment. And now I'm going to stamp our deer just on a scrap of paper here, basic white cardstock. I'm going to stamp it in basic gray. Okay, so there's our little deer all stamped out. And we're going to color this deer in with our Stamp and Blend markers. This is cinnamon cider. I'm going to start with the light cinnamon cider. And I'm going to color along his, and color his head in, except for the inside of his ears. I'm going to leave a stripe on the bottom of his belly white. I'm going to make this a white-tailed deer, so I'm leaving his tail white. Okay, and we're going to color his front leg in. You don't have to worry so much about going outside of the image when you're coloring, because we're going to be cutting this out. So I've got his legs all colored. See, I'm not being particular about going outside the lines, as you see. And then I'm going to use the dark cinnamon cider just to make a line underneath his jaw on his neck. Then I'm going to color these back legs in with the dark. Alright, and then I'm going to go back to the light cinnamon cider. And I'm going to go along his chest here, and just want to give a little bit of depth here on this deer. So I'm adding some darkness just along the top of his belly and across his legs there, just to give him a more rounded look. All right, and then we're going to cut this image out. And I used my paper snips to do this, and by magic of video, there we have him. And we're just going to adhere him to our card using multi-purpose glue. So I'm putting some glue on here, some on his legs. You could use any adhesive you'd like. This is my favorite, this multi-purpose glue. And I just want his feet just below those trees. So he's standing in the snow and not on top of the tree trunks. So there he is on our panel. Or she is, I should say. She doesn't have antlers. She's a she. And then we're going to, see, our panel's already done. This is a pretty quick Christmas card. My favorite thing to do is stamp out a bunch of the deer. And when I'm watching TV, I'm just sitting there cutting out deer while I'm doing that. And that makes it quick. You can color it there while you're watching TV too. And so we're going to do white on white. I'm going to get rid of my inky paper here real quick to get it over. And we have a panel here on the front that is 4 by 5.25, and it's basic white. And I run it through my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine using the Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder. I love this folder, and I love the look of white on white. So I put it on a white card base that is 5.5 by 8.5. And inside I just put a Balmy Blue panel and a basic white panel. And we're going to just pop this up with Stampin' Dimensionals and put it on our card. I like to use a lot of dimensionals because I don't want my popped up card base to bow in the middle for sure. So there I have my Stampin' Dimensionals on. Now I'm going to just take the backings off real quick. I find them everywhere. They like to cling to you. And we're just going to put this in the middle of our card here. And there's our finished card project for today. Who says simplistic isn't beautiful? So there you have it, today's card. I hope you're inspired to start your Christmas cards, and thank you for joining me. Bye.